I think we would all agree that empathy is a value that teachers would want students to have and to act on. And what we might not realize is that there's opportunities in the classroom with a little creative approach to have students get into this and realize the importance of empathy. I think that's true in all subject areas. In society today, empathy is not always something that one sees. People accusing younger people perhaps of being self-centered and not caring about others around them, especially the elderly. Society is growing older, and the respect for older people is something that is more and more important every day. One thing that I've done in my classroom to encourage this in this particular situation is to have an assignment involving an interview with an older parent or grandparent, neighbor, and I've had great success with that. We would talk first about how we would plan such an occasion and how they would carry it out. And the results were quite amazing. They often came back and said that they appreciated the chat. It might have been the first time they've had a serious chat with an older person, especially a grandparent, and they learned things that they didn't know before. And so it was generally a very, very positive experience. And so I think that that's an opportunity that any subject area can use to promote the interaction of younger people with older people. You can also have guest speakers in your classroom that are specialists. They might be older. They might be disabled, whatever. And again, the interaction of students with these people creates an opportunity they might not have had otherwise. When I did my interview book, I interviewed around 80 older people, and I realized how important other people were in their lives and the empathy that they would have for other people. And so I in my book, I have a number of quotes that I won't deal with them all here, but a number of quotes that show that that generation of people seem to have a little more empathy than maybe what we have today. One in particular stood out, and it was involving compassion. This lady said, "One day my neighbor across the street, Minnie Malone, was sick. When Minnie Malone got sick, we all had to help. Some of us did the washing, others did the cleaning. You helped when you could." And that stood out for me because today, sometimes we don't even know our neighbors if we live in high-rises or large communities. So I think that kids deep down generally do have respect for the most part, but there's a group of people that may need encouraging, and providing opportunities for them is a good idea. I know another thing that we could have done in my school is have we call it a special day where students can sign out to help other people, and so it wasn't compulsory, but if they had a note and they had an indication of exactly what they were going to be doing, and they would report back on that. It might be just helping an elderly person clean up the yard or wash the windows or get some groceries or whatever. And this was very successful, and it was also a very positive experience for the school in the neighborhood, because it made the school look like it was part of the neighborhood, and feeling responsible for their role in the neighborhood. So that was something that could be done certainly by any class in any subject area. Another thing that I've found to be helpful is to have young people talk about their experiences with their family, and just share some of the highlights. Some had grandparents in the wars. Some had, evidence of that. We used to have show and tell days, and kids would bring in some of the military photos or badges that their relatives had earned, and so respect for the role of the military in society was certainly a very important thing. Also, integrity. Older people are always talking about being honest and being dedicated and working hard. And a small example of this, when I finished my book, I would always go to the people that I interviewed, knock on their door, and give them a copy of my book. And I did this with one gentleman, and he was a successful, well-known businessman in the community. And I knocked on his door, gave him the book, and he said, "That's what I like, son, follow up." And I always remember that, because follow up, when you think of it, is a very important part of society. And follow up with things that you promise or that you do, and it gives you a good reputation in the community as well. So I think that students have to understand things like that as well. And I would tell them stories like that, that would reinforce that. But these older folks, quote here, "I think people really know deep down what is right and what is wrong. You don't have to be taught. You should follow your natural instincts of right and wrong." I think people today are losing a lot of their self-discipline. And don't be afraid of work. Work has been my life. Even today at 94 years of age, I put in a full day. And another lady, and this just kind of reinforces what I talked about in another video, the sense of humor. She said, "I'm 95 and a great believer in exercise. I have an exercise I do every morning, nothing strenuous. I want to wear out, I don't want to rust out." And so I thought that was pretty interesting observation on her part. So it's not always easy for students to understand and share the feelings of another. As I said, teenagers tend to be somewhat self-centered, and to ask them to put themselves in another person's position is not always easy. Yet many of the students certainly do in their comments and in class show that they understand the importance of that. But I think teachers need to provide the opportunity for students to voice that or to act on that. Teachers need to be the leaders in that situation, and leadership, like collecting toys for needy children at Christmas time, and donated is a great class project. So encouraging empathy in any way that you can is a valuable teaching moment and worthwhile. So think about it, and if you have some other ideas that you can try out, that would be great too. So we'll move on the next day, the next video, to determination. So we'll see you then.